Excellencies, Prime Ministers, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Prime Minister of the Republic of Latvia and Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China.
尊敬的各位阁下、各国总理及部长、女士们、先生们，请欢迎拉脱维亚共和国总理及中华人民共和国国务院总理入席。
Thank you. Please be seated.
各位请就坐。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening ceremony, which will be hosted by Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Economics of the Republic of Latvia, Mr. Arvils Ašradens.
女士们、先生们，欢迎大家！我们的开幕仪式将会由拉脱维亚共和国副总理兼经济部长阿尔维尔斯·阿舍拉登斯主持。
Please welcome.
有请。
Your Honorable Excellency, Prime Minister of State Council of People's Republic of China, Mr. Li Qiang. Your Honorable Excellency, Prime Minister of Latvia, Mr. Māris Kučinskis. Honorable heads of governments, business leaders and entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business Forum of Central and Eastern Europe, countries and China, a part of the 5th 16+1 summit here in Riga, Latvia. Today we have a truly exceptional and historical event. The forum brings together political leaders and many business executives to explore new horizons of partnership. It allows us to meet directly, people to people, and establish a common vision for the future. I'm honored to host the forum here in Riga, the long-standing metropolis of international trade of Europe. Trade, openness and innovation have transformed our economies, and it is essential that our government looks in one direction to foster cooperation, expand trade further and stimulate opening to go outside the world. Your Honourable Excellency Mr. Li Keqiang, thank you for being with us today. Your visit confirms China's commitment to 16+1 format and its effectiveness. Here at the Business Forum, we are discussing four main topics: connectivity, innovation, inclusiveness and common development. And I confirm my commitment to support those efforts of development in all four areas. Your Honourable Excellencies, distinguished guests, thank you all for coming today here in Riga. And I believe there will be many great visions created today and many fruitful partnerships established. And now I'm honoured to invite His Excellency the Prime Minister of Latvia to deliver his keynote speech on his vision of the cooperation among our nations. Mr. Kučinskis, I open the floor for you.
Excellencies, dear entrepreneurs and business representatives, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and pleasure to welcome you to the Business Forum of the 5th Summit for the Central and Eastern European countries and China. Such business forums have become a great tradition and an integral part of the 16+1 cooperation format, because it is one of the main objectives of the 16+1 format to promote economic relations. We live in the age of globalization, and it is no secret to anyone that state economies are intertwined and interdependent. An economic boom in one part of the world can have a positive impact on the economy of another, producing a favorable impression on the entire global economy as a whole. Global challenges cause significant changes in traditional business models. Production factors and international capital are becoming more mobile, and there is increased competition for skilled labor and capital attraction on national and regional levels. Production processes are becoming ever more fragmented, and supply chains are becoming ever more sophisticated. This process leads to the formation of national specialization in a particular sector or product value-adding chain. It also reinforces internal sectoral specialization or labor division. Creation of the end product requires excellence at all levels, expertise of suppliers and partners, and innovation in related industries and different regions. Technological progress raises new requirements for the creation of competitive advantages. In the process of global economic transformation, the role of services is increasingly important, particularly those that have not yet even been created, and that is directly linked to the technological and data openness revolution. Dear audience, the European Union and China are global players in the world economy, and both economies are closely linked. The European Union is China's biggest trading partner, and China is the European Union's second largest trading partner. Last year, total EU-China trade turnover exceeded 570 billion euros. EU and China traded goods for over 1.5 billion euros per day. EU investments in China in the first half of the year amounted to 2 billion euros, while Chinese investments in the EU were 3.8 billion euros. The European Union and China have established a comprehensive strategic partnership and cooperation mechanisms at different levels, including summit meetings, strategic dialogue, high-level economic and trade dialogue, the EU-China connectivity platform, and others. I believe that the EU-China cooperation initiatives are compatible and complementary with the Central and Eastern Europe and China Cooperation Initiative 16+1. It is strengthened by the fact that most of the format countries are member states of the European Union, and I am delighted that this position is also reflected in the European Council conclusions. I am pleased that the cooperation between the 16 Central and Eastern European countries unifies economic potential for working together with China and building complex solutions for developing connectivity. The most visible trend is development of connectivity between transport networks. The European TEN-T, the Silk Road, and the 3 Seas initiative. But I want to make clear the connectivity concept in its widest sense. It is not only as trade routes, cargo flows, and transport infrastructure, but also exchange of technology and innovation, as well as communications and financing. Dear colleagues, I'm truly pleased that Latvia is one of the best places to develop business in the region. This is clearly supported by the fact over the past 3 years we have done a lot to strengthen our competitiveness. We joined the Euro area in 2014. We successfully completed our first EU presidency in 2015. This year, we have joined the OECD, and the recently published Doing Business rating has raised us to the 14th place. I believe that the 16+1 cooperation as a whole has huge potential, and I can attest that Latvia is ready for comprehensive cooperation with China, both in this format as well as more broadly, within a modern, contemporary, 21st century Silk Road initiative. We see great potential for cooperation development in transport, long-term and sustainable investments, high technology, and tourism. Latvia is also known as a regional financial center with a strong financial sector, and it is interested to offer its services for Chinese and European trading operations, maintaining payment systems for international transactions, as well as development of new financial products and technologies. And in conclusion, I hope that this 16+1 Business Forum will be a great base for acquiring new contacts, launching bilateral and multilateral projects, and generating new ideas. Thank you for your participation in this forum, and I wish you a fruitful work session. Thank you.
Paldies, Premjerministrs kungs. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. And now opening remarks by host, Minister of Commerce of the People's Republic of China, Gao Huchong.
Your Excellency Premier Li Keqiang, distinguished leaders from Central and Eastern European countries, friends from the business community, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Prime Minister Kuczynski for his wonderful speech. In 2011, the first Business Forum of China and Central Eastern European countries was held in Budapest of Hungary. Ever since then, this Business Forum has become a great economic gathering for companies from the 16+1 countries to conduct interactions and increase their mutual understanding and enhance cooperation. Today, Premier Li Keqiang and leaders from Central and Eastern European countries are gathering here for the 6th Business Forum co-hosted by China's MOFCOM and the Department of Economy of Latvia. This fully shows the great importance that our leaders place on our business cooperation. We are deeply encouraged by this. Let us express our warm welcome and sincere gratitude to our leaders. The theme of this Business Forum is interconnectedness, innovation, inclusiveness, and common development. It has attracted over 600 companies from China and Central and Eastern European countries, covering areas of infrastructure and many others. In yesterday and today's sub-forums, they have talked about transportation and logistics, industrialization and sustainable development, tourism and way of living, and trade. They have jointly explored opportunities for trade and investment cooperation. China will work with our colleagues in CEE countries to earnestly implement what's been agreed between our leaders, improve trade and investment environment, support our companies in scaling up their trade and investment, and deepen cooperation. We have every reason to believe that the CEE countries, as important areas along the Belt and Road, will become attractive destinations for the Chinese companies. And the business leaders will make new contribution to the business cooperation between China and CEE countries. Now let's give a round of warm applause to Premier Li Keqiang to give a keynote speech. Your Excellency Prime Minister Kuczynski's, leaders from the Central and Eastern European countries, ladies and gentlemen, it is my real pleasure to be here in the beautiful Riga for this sixth business forum. Indeed, as Prime Minister Kuczynski said earlier, cooperation between China and CEE countries prioritizes economic cooperation, and the number of this business forum sessions has actually exceeded the number of 16+1 summits. This in itself shows the importance of business cooperation to China-CEEC cooperation as a whole. Here in this room, I have seen a very innovative design of this forum. The cooperation between China and CEE countries, if they are painted with lines, then those lines form like a shape of a diamond. It means that our 16+1 cooperation has the value of the diamond. It also shows that all of our countries are connected with each other. It means that with 16+1 bilateral or multilateral cooperation, we always make progress across the board. And also we see the red lines represent Riga. The red point represents Riga in this symbol of the business forum, and the different spots are connected with lines. It means that with joint efforts, our cooperation can benefit the people of our countries. As we have agreed on our previous summits and forums, cooperation between China and the CEE countries goes beyond one region. We are geographically distant, but we are not that distant. Prime Minister Kuczynski told me that actually between Latvia and China there is only one country in between. So in some sense we are neighbors. That is true. For China and many countries in Central and Eastern Europe, given modern transportation technologies, we can be ever closer to each other. And our cooperation is an important dimension of China-Europe cooperation. It is also an important dimension in China-EU cooperation. For China, we have always firmly supported the integration of Europe. We are always glad to see a united and prosperous EU. Therefore, China's cooperation with European countries and EU member states has always been consistent with China-EU agreements and respects the laws and regulations of the EU. Of course, our cooperation is also based on our respective strengths. Such kind of cross-region cooperation coincides with the current trends of regional integration in this world, economic globalization, regional economic integration. These are the overall trend in this world. Although in this process there can be some problems or ups and downs, however, like anything else in this world, there are always some good points and weak points, or ups and downs. What we need is to maximize the good points and avoid the weak links, and jointly uphold the liberalization and investment facilitation across the world. Together, we need to respect each other and seek win-win outcomes in 16+1 cooperation. It is our consistent view that countries, regardless of their size, are all equals. Countries should always respect and support each other. We never impose our own will upon any other country, and we have always believed that cooperation should lead to win-win results, follow market principles and laws of the economy. We have always given companies the main role to play. That is why we say in our business cooperation, companies play the main role, government gives supports, and market rules and principles are respected. And we have upheld openness and inclusiveness. Our 16+1 countries, we have moved forward hand in hand. We always stress that the 16+1 cooperation is a complement to China-Europe cooperation as a whole. Our 16+1 cooperation is good for a third party. It is not against any third party. Our cooperation is of win-win nature. It can be open and inclusive. That is why we are having more and more observers in our meetings or our summits. This exactly shows that our cooperation is inclusive and open. We have also pursued interconnected development. We have created and shared opportunities. We have maintained that the 16+1 cooperation is about infrastructure connectivity, and the cooperation must meet our development needs and must always pursue innovation. In one word, I believe the 16+1 cooperation will continue to show strong vitality, and it will have the value of diamond. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, the global economic recovery is far below our expectation. The global trade is in the most difficult time in recent 3 decades. That is why we need to expand bilateral trade, and we need to promote customs clearance cooperation and trade liberalization. Companies from Central and Eastern European countries are welcome to China in all kinds of exhibitions and trade fairs to promote your brands and products. And we welcome more quality agricultural products and marketable industrial goods from CEE countries. We are also ready to carry out industrial capacity cooperation with CEE countries. China has mature and high-quality equipment with good services. With that, we hope to take part in infrastructure development and agro products processing in CEE countries that will contribute to job creation in the local communities and will increase the added value of local products. This way of cooperation will also ensure sustainability of our cooperation. And here I would like to announce that at last year's 16+1 summit in Suzhou, I once suggested the establishment of a 16+1 financial holding company. This company's fundraising will be looked after by the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, and the fundraising will be conducted from global markets through business operation. And China, and it will be equipped with main currencies of the world to provide financing support to our cooperation. This company is officially established. China is also ready to increase tourism cooperation with CE countries. We are ready to encourage our civil aviation companies' cooperation. We are ready to simplify our visa procedures.
We look forward to doubling the number of mutual visits between our two sides so as to bring our peoples closer to each other. I know you are very interested in the current state of the Chinese economy, and I will briefly address that. In the first 3 quarters, China's GDP grew by 6.7%. This was achieved by an economy worth $10 trillion. Every 1% growth rate adds to the economy what 2% growth rate did 5 years ago, because we are already a huge economy, but we're still a developing one. We still have huge potential. In terms of job creation, every year we have been able to create 30 million jobs, and we are committed to innovation-driven development and promoting mass entrepreneurship and innovation. China has been expanding market access and simplifying the procedures for businesses to start up their operation and run their business. We also strengthen regulation and create a level playing field. Every day, about 15,000 new businesses were created. If we count the self-employed people, every day the number would reach 40,000. So mass entrepreneurship and innovation is really thriving in China. This has also brought changes to China's economic structure. We are shifting from old to new growth drivers. Consumption and services industry have been growing rapidly. They have become the main driver of our economic growth. The small and medium-sized enterprises in China are emerging in droves. They are providing and guiding people's diverse needs and demands. They are also providing more supply of services. China is adopting a more proactive fiscal policy, and we cut taxes and fees for the SMEs, but at the same time, we uphold a prudent monetary policy. We did not print too much money or resort to sweeping stimulus measures. Instead, we focused on structural reform. But of course, China is a big country with 1.3 billion people, and we still have a long journey before we can realize modernization. We still have a lot of risks, challenges, and difficulties in the process of development. But on the whole, the risks are controllable. The challenges can be overcome. and we will turn those challenges into opportunities. Well, all in all, on the fiscal front, the risk is under control because the debt ratio of the central government is quite low, globally speaking. There is no basis for long-term RMB depreciation, and the RMB has joined the SDR basket. In 16+1 cooperation formula, we are willing to use RMB for financing and lending. And this would make it easier for us to carry out 16+1 cooperation projects. China is growing, so are the 16 CE countries. We are the world's most and the biggest developing countries. And we are working with the developing countries. As a Latvian saying says, stand still, you will be left behind. And we have a similar saying in China, if you don't press ahead, we will slide back. So we all need to work together, pull in the same direction, and work for common development. I believe this forum and this summit will bring our partnership and cooperation to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. And now please welcome for closing remarks the host, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Economics of the Republic of Latvia, Mr. Arvils Ašarādens.
Thank you. Your Honourable Excellency, Mr. Li Keqiang, Your Honourable Excellency, Māris Kučinskis, allow me to express my sincere gratitude for truly inspiring keynote speeches here at this forum. You have reaffirmed our commitment to build a lasting and fruitful partnership. Once more, I would like to thank you all, political leaders, business executives and entrepreneurs, for coming here today, because it's you who are working very hard every single day to create jobs, grow economies and bring prosperity to our nations. Your Honourable Excellencies, distinguished guests, I am sure this forum and the 16+1 summit are the great potential to work together and make the world a better place for our business and for our citizens. With this, I declare the opening ceremony to be closed. Thank you very much.